I'm going to make this tough, okay? We are not drafting at the very beginning. Rather, we are sitting here at the 110, so we should not, in theory, have access to any of these elite level quarterbacks. We'll see if that ends up happening. This is going to be a super flex startup tight end premium where rookies are drafted. Now, of course, I understand a lot of y'all playing one quarterback formats on vlogfantasy.com. We have one quarterback rankings up that you can go ahead and you can check out. I will just essentially help you out right now. If you're playing in a one quarterback format, you move the quarterbacks down. It's not necessarily too difficult, and especially if we're looking at round one here. I'm assuming Jefferson is the first guy off the board, so you just assume Jefferson is your 101 and all the way down the line. But Jalen Hurts off the board at 3. It is interesting to see Jalen Hurts still hold on to this value. I mean, you understand why, right? I mean, this is a quarterback that has the elite level rushing upside. He's going as the quarterback 3 in underdog drafts currently. I just don't necessarily know if the long-term outlook is the same for a player like Jalen Hurts is what I'd see with CJ Stroud. Justin Herbert goes here at 8. You have Anthony Richardson off the board at 9. I mean, I feel like we don't have too much of a debate here. I'm just going to go ahead and take Jamar Chase at 10. I mean, I guess maybe you could sit here and make an argument instead to go ahead and take CeeDee Lamb if you believe CeeDee Lamb's the wide receiver 1. I do want to point out one big thing here. You see Anthony Richardson go ahead of Jamar Chase in this mock draft. This goes to show the value of these quarterbacks in comparison to wide receivers. So it does seem like more people are finally coming around, where earlier in the offseason we were having to fight people who wanted to take Marvin Harrison Jr. instead of Caleb Williams. It looks like a lot of people are changing their mind on that and are now beginning to realize that, yes, you should go ahead and pull the trigger on Caleb Williams over Marvin Harrison Jr. But I am going to take Harrison at the 203. I am completely fine with this price point. If you look at my rankings over on vlogfantasy.com, you'll see this is pretty much exactly where I have the 102 ranked. It's a little bit nerve-wracking not drafting a quarterback in the first or second round. Y'all know 99.999% of these drafts, we are looking to grab that elite level quarterback at the very top. But I guess this gives you a little bit of a different view than what we typically do. So hopefully we can find some quarterback values that we like later on. But Mystic Flame says, yo, Mason, we already did our rookie draft. Oh, okay. Let me talk about this for just 1 second. Before we can get to the question, let me talk about the thought process of doing your rookie draft in February. I know it's becoming more and more popular for people to do their rookie drafts before the NFL draft, which I'm completely fine with, right? But to do the rookie draft before the NFL combine, in my mind, that's taking it one step too far. I think that you're almost just jumping the gun, almost just wanting to do the draft, not being patient enough. But now you get that draft done and you're sitting here with really no action whatsoever until September. So I personally would prefer for you to go ahead and at least wait until after the NFL combine. If you wanted to do your draft a day or two before the NFL draft, and sure, obviously you're taking a big time risk on what the landing spots end up being. But if you want to just say, okay, we're not going to rely on other teams to dictate the draft capital for these guys. I want to make other people decide where they go before we see NFL draft capital. Then I understand that argument, but February is tough. What's nice about getting your rookie draft in May is it's like pretty much that middle point of the offseason where you have something to look forward to when there's no football for God knows how long. But anyway, 12 teams start 11. Give Rome Polk Leggett and 2 future firsts to get Jefferson. So Polk Leggett, not really valuable at all in this instance, right? These are late second, early third round picks. I don't really care too much here. It really comes down to, do you want Rome and 2 future firsts for Jefferson? If it was a one quarterback format, I would say give me Jefferson's not close. If it was a start 8, start 9 league, I would say, yeah, give me Justin Jefferson. Give me the best player. My only hesitation is to trade Rome and 2 future firsts for Jefferson in a start 11-12 team format. I think it's going to be much tougher, and it is going to be up to you. But Zaga says, I have the 109 in my startup dynasty with vets only. What's the play here? Top receiver in the first, and then someone like Love as a quarterback in the second, or do we instead grab someone like Gibbs in the second? Hopefully this draft's going to help you out, my friend. Hopefully you can see how you structure your team, even if you miss out on that quarterback in the first, because if you were looking at maybe what we had here in a similar range in the late first round, I had no choice to go through and take a quarterback. I mean, unless I wanted to take Jordan Love over Jamar Chase. Really, a QB was not in play for us at that selection. So we will dive into that a little bit more. But real quick, what we should have done a while ago is we should have pulled up our rankings on the site. So just give me 1 second to do just that so I understand what I am trying to do and what we want to do here. Oh, why am I logged out of the site? Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, time's up. Travis Etienne off the board. Good. I'm pretty sure we are not looking at Travis Etienne. Let's go ahead, pull up Dynasty Superflex. We're going to sort by expert here. Okay. So let me see. Can we show you all flockfantasy.com? Okay. We are on the clock. I think we're going to go ahead, pull the trigger on a quarterback here. I understand he trailed off at the end of the season. I understand from a real life perspective, people do not like Tua. I mean, I get it. A lot of people calling him the next Kirk Cousins, yada, yada, yada. Maybe he just puts up raw passing volume, but the underlying ability to win big games isn't really there, aka the Kirk Cousins effect. I don't know. Like, let's go ahead and let's pull up what we have with the community rankings. You do have Tua right after Purdy. You have Tua actually before Dak Prescott in the expert rankings. Dak is ahead of Tua in the community rankings. But Tua QB 13 in the expert rankings on the site. I think it's a fine selection. Now, going beyond this, what are the rookies available? We have Brock and Rome. Ayuk's here. I think we're probably going to take Ayuk, right? Tight end premium format. Let's go ahead. Let's take Ayuk. Ayuk's right in line with what we have with someone like Michael Pittman in that this is a young wide receiver that should be hyper productive in the short term. Devonta Smith is right there for us as well. That's the other guy that we are debating between. If you are looking at Brandon Ayuk versus Devonta Smith in the flockfantasy.com expert rankings, here you have Ayuk, Addison, Smith, then DJ Moore. But you do have Brandon Ayuk as the wide receiver 11, pretty much ranked back-to-back with the 106. So I think you could have made an argument as well to go ahead and take Rome. If Neighbors was there, obviously we would have taken Neighbors without thinking twice. To be honest with you, I probably would have taken Neighbors over Tua. But interesting team. I'm excited to continue to build out this team here. And of course, side note, if you are not already a member of flockfantasy.com, I have no idea what you are waiting for. The link's in the live chat. The link's in the description. Actually, the link's not in the live chat. We'll get to that soon. The link's in the description. The link's in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK on flockfantasy.com will get you 30% off any subscription. It will get you yours truly breaking down your Dynasty Fantasy Football team in a podcast, advising what moves to maybe make next, maybe roasting your team just a little bit. Plus, we'll get our rankings, we'll get our Dynasty Trade Calculator, all the premium content from all your favorite people on YouTube. I'd say it's probably the best offer that you are ever going to get on a fantasy football site. And I'm investing everything that we have to make it the best that it can be, ladies and gentlemen. But beyond that, we have Tank Dell going at the 411. Tank Dell going after Jordan Addison. I honestly really like to see it. I like to see Addison going before Dell and Rashee Rice. I mean, at this point, I am really turning into an Addison guy. And I drafted way more Rashee Rice in rookie drafts last year in comparison to Addison. But the pound out of here, happy to see you, my man. Hope that you are doing well this offseason. Hopefully you're not in too many big board drafts. But Luke says, what's up, Mason? Can't wait for the combine. I'm excited for the combine as well. I actually just made a pretty big move when it comes to updating our running back prospect model. I have an in-depth video coming out on Monday diving into combine numbers and what matters actually at the running back position. I really hope that it is going to be useful for y'all. But the Pound says the wide receiver and running back database has been a huge help for me. Oh yeah, 100%. The wide receiver database that we have on the site, that Corey from the Fantasy Stock Exchange put together, that wide receiver database, 100%. I would say it's the best rookie source that you can have. I mean, I can't even imagine a metric that's missing from the rookie wide receiver database. And that's massive, massive props to Corey from the Fantasy Stock Exchange who put that together. But T. Higgins off the board at the 505. Okay, so we have a couple different names that I am looking at here. What's interesting to note is Brock Bowers in this draft does go before Rome. Because this is going to be a question that a lot of people sitting with the 106 in Dynasty Superflex drafts are going to face themselves with. Bowers or Rome, and here you do have Bowers ahead. Keep in mind, this is a tight end premium format as well, and we are seeing the team at 6 take advantage of it being a tight end premium format and taking Laporta as well as TJ Hawkinson. Zay Flowers goes to the 508. Zay Flowers is actually who we are wanting to have, so that sucks that that is no longer an option for us. But it is what it is. Let's swing through and just get a sense of what we have at every position currently. Okay. Andrews goes 509. Andrews was the guy that we were wanting. Are you freaking kidding me? Okay, let's pull up the rankings on the site. Let's see if we can figure this out here. Dear God, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're just taking Kenneth Walker. I mean, if you're looking at Walker in comparison to some of the other running backs that are on their rookie deals, you have Walker, Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco, James Cook, all in a similar range. If you're looking at the rookies that are best available currently, you have Troy Franklin, Brian Thomas, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy. I don't know. It is a tough spot to take Kenneth Walker there, to be honest with you, but I am okay with it. And I do want to repeat myself, though. Given the change that we have with the coaching staff in Seattle, it is in the range of outcomes. It's a possibility Charbonnet's the guy. It's not likely. I still believe Walker's the better running back, and it most likely is Kenneth Walker. But it is a possibility that it's Charbonnet. So Bryce Young goes. So we're going to go ahead. We're actually going to take James Cook. We're going to go back-to-back running backs on their rookie deals here with Walker, Cook. I'd be more concerned with James Cook if it wasn't for the fact that this is a very weak rookie running back class. So because it's a very weak rookie running back class, I'll be a little bit more willing to draft these running backs in the middle rounds in the early offseason, which typically is something that we really try to avoid. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world here. Isaiah says, wins the combine early March, my friend. I think it should be in about a week, unless I'm mistaken. Luke says, excited for that video. My team needs running back, and I have 4 second-round picks. I'm hoping to hit on a guy. I think, obviously, it's early to say. I really care about the combine for the running back position in particular. I think that's going to dictate NFL draft capital a ton, and NFL draft capital does obviously lead to opportunity. But I don't know. I think it's hard to know exactly what to expect from this running back class as it stands now. Obviously, looks like a very weak class right now. But going to some of those underdog best ball drafts we've been doing this offseason, and going back to the videos that we made this week, I think, honestly, 2 of my favorite videos that we made this offseason so far have been looking at where the rookies are currently getting drafted in underdog best ball drafts to just redraft expectations, essentially, and comparing that over the past 10 years to what we have seen in fantasy football, and seeing that wide receivers are more expensive than they have ever been as rookies. And that's not overall ADP. That's positional ADP. So even though wide receivers are generally more expensive on Underdog as is, it's taking into account for that. So rookie wide receivers are more expensive than they have ever been, ever, not even close from a redraft perspective. And rookie running backs are cheaper than they have ever been. So I do want to reiterate, just like everybody else and their mom is saying, yes, I understand it's a very strong rookie wide receiver class, and it is a very weak rookie running back class. I mean, as you can see by me taking Marvin Harrison Jr. up at the 203 and seeing how many rookie wide receivers are off the board already in this Dynasty startup. But at these current prices, yeah, I don't mind taking a swing, at least from a redraft perspective, with where their current prices are in Underdog drafts on a couple of those rookie RBs. But one thing that I do want to point out here is the Bo Nix selection at the 609. From what I have seen with NFL mock drafters as of late, is it doesn't necessarily look like Bo Nix is going to get that kind of draft capital to maybe justify that selection. So I don't know if I love the Bo Nix pick there, to be completely honest. Isaiah says, are you taking the 103 or Bijan in the Superflex League? So if you look at where Bijan goes in this draft here, he goes between the second and third rookie, between Marvin and May. If you look at where I have Bijan Robinson in my personal rankings on the site, let me just go ahead and real quick, just in case if you don't know how to pull up my rankings on the site, if you're new to flockfantasy.com, what you want to do, hit the filter button, go ahead, hit add expert. You can hit add Mason Dodd and it will go through and it will sort by my rankings. So also we have all the rookie picks ranked in as well. So it should help you a considerable amount when it comes to making trades. I have Bijan ranked back to back with the 103. I have him ranked slightly less than the 102, which you can see I took Marvin Harrison Jr. ahead of Bijan. And then we have Bijan slightly ahead. But of course, that's going to be for super flex. In a one quarterback format, I would way rather have Bijan than the 103. And crap, we are on the clock. JJ McCarthy goes. McCarthy was our guy. I have no idea. Can we have time to actually look at this? No, okay, we are not going to get the time. So we are just going to go ahead and auto George Pickens. Actually, don't mind where Pickens is currently being valued if you think that Pittsburgh's going to be able to give any quarterback play that's not bottom 5 QB play in the NFL. Okay. We still need another quarterback. We're only sitting here with Tua. So I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Matthew Stafford. Quarterback's going to be that one position where I am willing to pass on the younger option. The younger option here obviously is Will Levis, and more so go with the crusty old veteran where you kind of know what to expect. I mean, I think these guys are continuously expanding their runway. Stafford looked great at the end of the season. We need a quarterback, so let's go ahead and let's pull the trigger there. Okay. Angel says, when do draft picks have the most value? Right before the NFL draft, right before the Dynasty rookie draft. So here's one way to think about rookie pick value. Don't necessarily think about rookie pick value as something that's going to go up and down through the course of the offseason. Where, yes, we can say that rookie picks maybe are going to be worth more around the time of the NFL draft. It may be marginally more. It may be 5% more. Maybe the first round picks are worth the same, but the second round picks are worth a little bit more. Or maybe they're worth about 5% less. It is going to be a narrow range. It's not like they're going to double in value or anything. So I am not so much focused in on rookie pick value fluctuations through the course of the offseason as I am with rookie pick security with the value through the course of the offseason. I mean, this is something that we talk about every single year. We essentially just compare rookie picks to gold. I think we first did that back in like 2019 was the first time that we brought up that analogy. I know a lot of people talk about it now. I think we were the first people to mention it in 2019. But Everybody in your league, regardless of who they are, will trade for a rookie pick. It doesn't matter if it is February, March, April, May, June, July. If you were to take a rookie pick over someone like, say, Tyreek Hill as an example, even if they are equivalent in terms of their value, and you were to go through and try to sell one of those assets for something at the beginning of the season, if you're going to sell Tyreek Hill, you need to find someone that is a contending roster. You need to find someone that needs a wide receiver. You need to find someone that wants Tyreek Hill, the player himself, and you need to find someone who can afford to pay for him. So your trade partner needs to check 4 pretty big boxes. And that is going to limit it. I mean, if you're going through and trying to sell veterans at the beginning of the season, or really in the offseason, it doesn't matter when. If you're trying to sell a veteran, you maybe have 2 or 3 people in your league that are interested. Whereas if you're trying to sell a rookie pick, it's currency. You can essentially turn it into whatever you want. So I don't think you need to worry about like, okay, is the rookie pick worth a little bit more or a little bit less in February than it is in May? I think that what I value with those rookie picks is the stability and the flexibility it gives my roster through the course of the offseason, which obviously is very different in terms of drafting a rookie themselves. Like if you're in a startup draft and you are drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 203, you don't get nearly as much flexibility with that asset as you would if you were to draft the second rookie pick there instead. So hopefully that makes sense and hopefully that helps. But I don't know if I was just rambling about nothing there. But let's go ahead and let's move this over. We have Trey Benson off the board, 905. Braylon Allen goes 906. Completely fine if you wanted to take your shot on any of these rookie running backs here. Ladd off the board. The best rookies on the board currently are Adonai, Blake, Jatavion, Michael, Tez, Malachi, Shipley, Bucky. So in terms of the rookies, I'm not super interested in any of these guys. Go ahead and look at wide receiver. I'd say Kupp's probably the best guy in my mind. I don't necessarily think it's too close either. Quarterback, I am probably going to queue up Kupp here. I mean, let me search the community expert rankings on the site and see how bad of a mistake this is exactly. But we took Matthew Stafford, so we get some correlation in. I guess it does turn us into a little bit more of a contending team. So, yeah, considering the fact that we have Stafford, I think we can at least make the argument that maybe it's not a bad decision based off that fact. Okay. Ramondre goes 912. Like if I'm looking at Kupp versus Ramondre Stevenson as contending assets, I probably have a little more faith in Kupp. Aaron Jones off the board at the 1001. Okay. I'm going to go ahead. I probably will take Daniel Jones here. I think David Njoku in tight end premium format has a strong argument to be made as well. I mean, David Njoku drafted back in 2017, but he's the youngest tight end that you've seen come out of school in a long time, not named Kyle Pitts. So the man still is incredibly young. But we are only sitting here with Tua and Matthew Stafford. Might as well pull the trigger on Daniel Jones. And while I'll do this, I will also admit at the same time that Daniel Jones is most likely a bad NFL quarterback. Daniel Jones is most likely someone that we are not excited to have on our team. But with that being said, he's going between Jahan Dotson and Najee Harris. Jahan Dotson most likely is bad. Najee Harris is most likely bad. I mean, most players in this range are probably going to be bad. And it just comes down to what's the upside. We've seen Daniel Jones be a quarterback that, I mean, gets a pretty large NFL contract, has some rushing upside. Hopefully the Giants can go out there and improve the offensive line or give him a weapon inside the top 10 picks this year. But yeah, we'll take him at the 1003. Now, Nico says, should we trade Garrett Wilson for the 104? Hoping I can land Daniels and trade Fields, my quarterback 2 for a pick, and a productive veteran receiver. So 104, just think through the range of outcomes here. You're going to be looking at, you're going to have a shot at a quarterback no matter what. Whether it's Jaden Daniels or Drake May, don't necessarily know who. If you were looking at the 104 versus the wide receiver that would go there in Malik Nabers, what's interesting to point out is Malik Nabers actually goes before Garrett Wilson in this draft. So, I mean, another thing that you can use both the rankings on the site for, I think that's probably the number one resource you can have for it because it's the exact rookie picks laid out. You can pull up any of your favorite creators on YouTube and see what pick they would rather have. But you can also just look at a mock draft like this and go, okay, how many rookies went before Garrett Wilson here? You had Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake May, Malik Nabers. You had 4 guys go before Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson went back-to-back with Jaden Daniels. So, I mean, yeah, you can see that Garrett Wilson is pretty much in the range there of pick 4. Now, what you want is probably determined based off your team and your overall construction and as well your personal player take. But I don't necessarily know if we can come out here and have a strong argument to go one way or another. Now, Lance says, I traded the 105 and the 211 for Tyreek in a 1 quarterback format. Did I win the deal? 100% in a 1 quarterback league. Now, in a super flex league, maybe a different story. But if you think about a 1 quarterback format, I mean, what is the 105? It's not Marvin Harrison Jr. It's not Malik Nabers. It's not Rome. It's not Bowers. The 105 is Brian Thomas Jr. The 105 is Troy Franklin. I don't know. I have no idea what the 105 is in a 1 quarterback format. It's way too early to tell, but we can look at these guys like Brian Thomas Jr., Troy Franklin going here at the 607, 608 in this startup, and you can go see Tyreek Hill goes to the 311. So 100%, I think I would prefer Tyreek Hill over the 105 in a 1 quarterback format in particular. Now, it's super interesting to see Blake Corum go after Bucky Irving here and go this far behind Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, Braylon Allen. Obviously, Jonathan Brooks going to go much higher in Dynasty than he will redraft with the injury. But it is interesting to note that Blake is going pretty much back-to-back with Trey Benson in underdog drafts currently. So that's what redraft drafters are essentially thinking at this point. Okay. So yeah, Adonai's already gone. With Adonai off the board, I probably am going to go ahead and take Tony Pollard. Ooh, who did we end up autoing? Okay. I'm sorry. Y'all heard me say I was going to take Tony Pollard. Got a lot going with the live stream. We're going to switch Henry to Pollard. Another one of these running backs that in years past I'd be willing to just completely write off at this point. But with this being a very weak running back class overall, I think that we can maybe say is a little bit of a longer runway. We have a couple tight ends going off the board, and we auto draft Dallas Goedert. Are you freaking kidding me? I forgot to turn off auto. Well, we'll go ahead. We'll just take Goddard. I mean, tight end premium format. We don't have a guy just yet. We probably should have taken Evan Ingram there over Tony Pollard. But nonetheless, you live and you learn. That's why we get in these mock drafts. Okay. Now, Brady says, should the 104 be Daniels or Nabers, or is it team dependent? I would say 100% it's team dependent and where they go in the NFL draft. Hypothetically, crazier things have happened. Remember, going back just 2 years ago, when we sat here in February, Malik Willis was thought to be a first-round pick. Malik Willis was thought to be the QB1 in that draft class. Now, I am not trying to say Jaden Daniels is Malik Willis. I mean, y'all go back to the very beginning of the offseason where we are coming out saying that you needed to consider Jaden Daniels as that elite level asset immediately. So don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to say that Jaden Daniels is Malik Willis, but it is a possibility. It is in the range of outcomes that what happens if the combine doesn't go well? Maybe NFL teams aren't as high as everybody and their mom's thinking that they are, which including me, I think most likely Daniels is the top 5 NFL draft pick. What happens if he falls outside the top 10? What happens if Daniels falls outside the top 10, which is unlikely, but in the range of outcomes? Malik Neighbors ends up going to the Los Angeles Chargers at 5. Probably Neighbors. On the other end of the spectrum, Jayden Daniels gets selected inside the top 5 picks of the draft. Then it's Jayden Daniels, especially if you have Neighbors going over to maybe like Chicago at 9. So I think it's way too early to tell. That's why I'm just kind of sitting here and saying, oh, okay, well, 104, you're going to be looking at this range of options. It's going to be May, Neighbors, or Daniels. I don't necessarily know exactly which way we can go, but we can also say 104, we can pretty confidently project out that you won't have Harrison, you won't have Caleb Williams there. Okay, Jalen Polk off the board. Okay. We are going to take Roshan primarily so we can throw up a hook 'em horns. Hook 'em horns, my friends. Yeah, I would prefer Roshan over these rookies at this point. Quentin Johnston goes. So did DeAndre Hopkins. We'd probably take Hopkins if he was available. I'm going to go off board, make a weird pick of Gabe Davis. Most likely, Gabriel Davis is not going to be a Buffalo Bill this next year. And if Gabe Davis is not a Buffalo Bill this next year, he's probably not someone that you want on your team. But we are going to make a weird selection and say, hypothetically, what if he did go back to Buffalo? But here's squad. Quarterback, we have Tua, Stafford, Daniel Jones. Wide receiver, we have Jamar Chase, Marvin Harrison Jr., Brandon Ayuk, George Pickens, Cooper Kupp, Gabe Davis. Running back, we have Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Tony Pollard, Roshan. Tight end, we have Goddard. So for sure a team that we have built around the wide receiver position. But I think that should be it for this live stream. Again, thank you so much for everybody hanging out with us. I really hope that y'all got something from this and it was able to help you out in one way or another. Of course, if you have not done so already, hit that like button. And if you're not a member of the flock, don't know what you're waiting for. Get all my Dynasty rankings. Get all the Dynasty rankings of all your favorite creators. Get access to our Dynasty trade calculator where you can put in your exact league settings, plus all the premium content, including rookie databases, yada, 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 from all your favorite creators. Find that link in the description, comment section, live chat. You already know all about it. Code FLOCK will get you 30% off any subscription. Plus, with code FLOCK, yours truly will break down your Dynasty Fantasy Football team in a podcast. But I think that's all I have for you. Really do appreciate y'all and really hope we get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow.